competence at Manchester United. It's such a fucking strange thing to see at this club, and the fans have got very, very lucky that the man who was once relegated to the French second division and is now the only man who's fit to lace Mo Salah's boots in the Premier League has chosen them. Ineos have hit the jackpot with this acquisition, and it is blindingly obvious that most football fans just haven't been paying attention to the profile of Bryan Mbeumo. There's a certain special something seeing a guy like Mbeumo struggle and work through adversity to work his way through the lower leagues, from French relegation to scrapping for promotion in the Championship to being amongst the standout top performers last season. He idolised Cristiano Ronaldo as a child and fought for his place in this world to stand on the very wing that his idol used to make the world his own. Mbeumo is the epitome of a proper matured footballer, yet still young and before his peak years. And what a change a profile like his is to a Manchester United side that has been suffering from sterile, poorly principled, social media crybaby boys for far too many years. Salah returned to the Premier League at 25, and still at 33, he's ripping teams apart. Even United fans will have no shame in applauding him. Bryan at 26 is in a similar position to Salah when he returned, but where Salah struggled in his first stint in the league at Chelsea, Bryan has proven himself as being amongst the very best in the league, and this is the momentum he leverages begins at Old Trafford. They share the same grace, they share a very similar play style, and it seems clear to all those who've been following his performances and demeanour closely, he has a ceiling in the same realm as Mo Salah. It hasn't always been obvious Mbeumo would one day command the huge fee of £71 million and play for one of the giants of world football, but there were always hints that he had this level within him. Living in France, born to his French mother and Cameroonian father, he started at Troyes at the age of 14, a small club in the French countryside, far from the glamour of Paris or Marseille, and it was here, on the biggest stage in French youth football, that he gave us the first real clue. The year is 2018, it's the Coupe Gambardella final held at the Stade de France. Mbeumo, just a teenager, scores 2 goals to win the trophy for his club for the first time in 62 years. The last kid to pull off a feat like that? None other than Kylian Mbappé. But like I said, Mbeumo's path wasn't a straight line to the top. While Mbappé was conquering the world, Mbeumo faced the brutal reality of relegation. His team dropped down to Ligue 2, and for so many young talents, that's where the story ends. Lost potential in the lower leagues. But for Mbeumo, this was the beginning of his real education. This is where he learned to fight. He became the star player in a tough, unforgiving league, dragging his team forward every week. He didn't complain, he didn't look for a way out, he simply put his head down and worked. And across the channel, a club in West London was taking notice. In 2019, Brentford, a club built on data and overlooked gems, signed him. He became part of the most terrifying attacking trio in the Championship, nicknamed BMW, consisting Benrahma, Mbeumo, Watkins. It was electric, but his first taste of a success in England ended in bitter defeat. They lost the playoff final at Wembley in 2020, but Bryan Mbeumo is not a lesser player. A year later he was back at Wembley. This time there was no mistake. They won, and Mbeumo was instrumental. Brentford were in the Premier League. Now, for many players who followed a similar path, making it to the Premier League is the final step. For Mbeumo, it was just the beginning of his toughest test. In his first full season with the newly prompted Brentford, he netted 4 times in the league and hit the woodwork a record 7 times. Again, the hints that a special player was here were obvious, and of course those astute to his performances were starting to take notice early on. He had represented France at every single youth level. The path to playing for the world champions was wide open, yet competitive, but his heart and his heritage pulled him in another direction. And urged on by the legendary Samuel Eto'o, after a meeting in London, Bryan decided to switch allegiance to Cameroon and represented their national team in the 2022 World Cup. The next season, manager Thomas Frank deployed Mbeumo in many different wide positions, also unconventionally at wing-back, and despite this, he managed to more than double his total league goal tally to 9 goals. Following Ivan Toney's 8-month suspension for breaching football betting rules, Bryan continued to take on a more key role in this ever-growing Brentford team, and he took his place in the staple front three alongside Yoan Wissa and Kevin Shade. he became the first choice penalty taker but had to miss a significant portion of the season after undergoing surgery for an ankle injury. But regardless, he returned, and this front three continued to rampage on, leading to his career best in the 2024/25 season, netting 20 goals and 7 assists, playing in every single league game. It should be noted he significantly outperformed his expected goals of 12.3 by plus 7.7, which was the highest XG over performance in the league. And that's when Manchester United knew they had to get him. The boy from Avalon had become the centre of attention for all the top clubs, and he chose the same club as the very first shirt he ever owned. And of course, Ronaldo was the name on the back. He didn't just earn his place at Old Trafford, he fought for it every single step of the way. So when Ineos dropped £71 million on him, the casual fan saw a big fee for a Brentford player. But the people who run this club now, they saw a bargain. They weren't just buying the 20 goals and 8 assists from the season before, they were buying the entire journey. They were buying the character forged in relegation, the resilience built from playoff finals, and the mentality of a man who turned being the unluckiest shooter in the league into a catalyst for becoming one of its most clinical. This wasn't a signing based on a YouTube highlights reel. It was an acquisition based on a psychological profile. The profile of resilience, grit, confidence, and a man whose momentum will take him as far as he wants to go. And there's no doubt in my mind he can carry the heavy expectations and burdens of being a Manchester United player on his back, choosing to come to this club during its worst time, out of all the options he had available to him, and giving his all, just as his idol set the precedent for. Since joining, he's quickly become Amorim's boy, he's quickly becoming a fan favourite, and I assure you this guy's grounded enough to deal with the inevitable setbacks that will come his way. We saw this against Grimsby. He's not posting on Instagram after the game about coming back stronger, he just does it, and delivers. Mbeumo brought United back into that game against Grimsby after coming on at half-time, scored the second penalty in the shootout, and although he missed the decisive kick, the man parades forward in the next league match against Burnley, outplaying everyone on the field, getting his first league goal, and winning a very well-deserved Player of the Match award. For years, Manchester United has been signing players who need the system to be built for them. Mbeumo is a player who makes any system better. He's already proven he can be part of a fluid trio like BMW, a classic partnership like the one with Tony, or the focal point of the attack himself. He's a tactical chameleon, a manager's dream. Intelligent footballers find a way to understand each other. The key to all of this, the secret to his temperament, might not even be found on the football pitch. Off the field, Mbeumo is a self-taught pianist and an avid chess player. Now, that isn't just a quirky piece of trivia, it's a worldview. It reveals a mind that craves patterns, that thinks several moves ahead, that understands the value of quiet practice and meticulous strategy. Contrast that with the culture this club has been trying to escape. A culture of noise, of brand building, of reacting to every little thing on social media. And Mbeumo is the antithesis of that. He is a man of quiet competence, of calculated action. He doesn't need to tell you he's a genius. He shows you in the 75th minute with a pass that nobody else in the stadium saw coming. So yes, competence at Manchester United does feel strange. But this is the new standard. A player who idolised Ronaldo on that wing hasn't just come here to imitate him. He's come to apply the lessons of his own gruelling, unique journey. He has a foundation built on real-world footballing hardship, not just academy pampering. At 26, he stands at the precipice of his prime, already a proven elite Premier League operator, ready to explode. He isn't the next Mo Salah because he doesn't need to be. He is the first Bryan Mbeumo, a footballer with the grit of a championship brawler and humble enough to dominate the Premier League as a top performer, but still understand he has a lot more work to do to improve as a player. And the rest of the Premier League, who have slowly started to take notice, are about to see this guy explode into elite status.